John Harder with another episode. This would be broadcast number probably 130 or somewhere, something like that. Huh? Oh, I think it's at least that many because I didn't. I've only posted. I've only named or counted the ones that I was able to put on Kringle Cash. So anyway, it doesn't really matter what the number is. I'd have to go back and count all the videos. Then I know. So how to generate free energy and spread the wealth of TBC. Yes. How do we do that? How do we make money with TBC? How can we make money? Everybody wants more money. And when you have TBC, if you have even just a couple of coins of TBC, you have a lot of money. And yet, you know, the way the world has been set up and the world that we are used to basically doesn't operate on that principle of abundance. It operates on the principle of poverty. And the principle of poverty has many, many branches of and side routes that uh, slow down or bring to a complete stop, in many cases, the prosperity of humanity. Now, we're very fortunate, very many of us, especially when we consider some of the things that are going on in the world that that is the biggest money maker now for the powers that shouldn't be. Well, TBC was created in order to bring all that to a stop and actually bring prosperity back to humanity. Prosperity is a natural thing. Poverty is not natural. Poverty is there's nothing natural about it. The only thing with that is that and we have humanity has been so entrained into that that people think that they have to put up barriers if they have a good idea of something that others can't make that. I see that it's some people are doing that in the with the free energy units, like they sort of create their own version of it and then put a patent on it, which actually doesn't help them any, and it certainly isn't going to help anybody else. But the idea of a patent is one of those side routes that make it appealing to humanity when we have the mindset of poverty, so that we can say, well, you know, nobody can copy what I am doing. When there is 7 million people and I come up with a great idea and somebody copies that, like, I seriously don't think that that's a problem. And if 1 million people would copy it, it still wouldn't be any problem, because there's always another idea if it comes down to that, right? But see, here's where we run short. Where we shortchange ourselves on that a lot. because when you think about it, there is no limit to ideas. There's no limit. We can see it in many of the things that people are making, and it hardly matters what you make. People buy it. You know, people will buy it. It almost doesn't matter what it is. Now, we know that how it works with, or if we don't, then we should know. Then we should learn about it, how that works. You see, what has been happening a lot in later years is that when people have a great idea, they will go to people who have a lot of money to to borrow money to get the project going. And there are people that cash in on those kind of ideas. You know, they on that, when somebody comes along with an idea and it looks like a gadget that's going to sell good, then they provide the funding. But here's what also happens: when they provide the funding, they're the ones calling the shots, which really shouldn't be a big deal, except for what's happening is that since it's a poverty-based economy, the profits then go to them and not to the person and the people actually creating, the person that had the idea and the people that are actually producing the product. And this is only all because it's poverty-based. When we have an abundance-based mindset, we don't have to tear at each other. We don't need to feed on somebody else's idea. And when somebody does, we don't need to fight about it, because there is plenty. There is plenty. There's never we never need to worry about having more than someone else. It's not necessary. In a poverty atmosphere, then it matters. Then if you have more, obviously, it kind of shows that you are, they call it the big dog or whatever. But that's a poverty-based mindset. That's not abundance. Abundance isn't out there. Abundance isn't out there. It is, but it's also inside. And when we tune into abundance, you see the fighting idea that all leaves. That goes away. We no longer need to fight for for these things. And now I'd like to remind us about this, because where does that affect? What area of life does the abundance mindset actually affect? Pretty much in all areas of life. You see, when a person who is a drunkard, let's dig down to the root a little bit. Why is that person a drunkard? Do you think this, say a man young and maybe in his 20s, and he has some great ideas, he'd like to start a business, and maybe he goes to the bank to see if he can borrow money to start the business and so on, and everywhere he goes, he hits a brick wall. It just doesn't seem to get going. And finally, he wants to do something. And the only thing that he can finally think of that he actually can do, and that where he doesn't hit a brick wall, is to go and buy a bottle. And then go over to the friend's house, perhaps, and let's share this and at least do something. Well, we know that that's not prosperous, but but we have to give that person credit that he did try very hard to do something else. And in most cases, people who are entrenched in whether it's drunkenness or whatever, those, whatever evil habits that are hurting themselves and other people, it's usually due to poverty. It's usually due to not being able to live a prosperous life, a fulfilling life. And poverty is what prevents from living a fulfilling life. So now that we have the idea that we can tune in to prosperity, now actually this this works even for people. It did work for people even in the poverty mindset atmosphere, which which most people just did not know how to tune into. But now that we have the billion coin and we have the information as to why it was created and to what kind of a world we live in, all of those factors makes it a very, very rich coin. That makes it a very, very, makes it very, very abundance based, because we can learn what it is we're enslaved to, and help us understand why we need a different way. Why do we need a different monetary system that is not under control under control by the powers that shouldn't be? So now I came across a video yesterday. Uh, Now I don't remember the name who shared it. I'll have to. I could go and dig it up in my history, and perhaps share it. Mm, I'm not sure whether where I or whether it's even worth sharing. I'm not sure. I guess it's one of those where we kind of have to make up our own mind. There are right now, as you may have noticed, a lot of video makers that are out there that are made to bring the truth out to people. You probably know Lisa Haven. There's a name that I figure you would know. Uh, uh, is it Dave? Dave? I think his name is David, and I can't remember the last name right now. He's Ike, David Ike, and of course there's in Canada here. There is one that's called I think it's Quest for Truth. Quest for Truth, I think is I can't remember it for sure. I think it's Quest for Truth. Doesn't quite seem to ring the right bell yet. I'll, if it comes to me, I'll say it. But there's a whole bunch of them. People who are interviewing a bunch of people who have been into the in the serving in the deep state, serving and having, some of them have been part of the banking cartels, you know but you know what I'm talking about, right? There's many of these now that are spreading the word, and I think that's a great thing. That's a good thing, but we also need to be careful that we don't absorb too much of the negative that is going on in the world, and fill our minds with it and be dragged down spiritually. or we could say mentally, but it's the same thing, because that is what can easily happen, that we get discouraged, and that it tends to draw our mind back to the poverty mindset. Okay. um, what I wanted to talk about, or wanted to point out, was this one video that I watched that was also presented by one of those people, and he was mentioning how that Trump, when Trump won the election, was actually uh, by total surprise. I know there's a huge, there's people that don't believe that. There's people that believe that he was selected, not elected. I heard also one of the people that was in the White House, apparently served in the White House. He was saying how that you know that now that the voting is digital, that it's all rigged. The voting, as actually that the people do, has nothing to do with who actually gets in, because the digital system is rigged anyways. Now, if that's the case and Trump ended up winning the election that was by their surprise, that would mean that somehow somebody that would normally rig the numbers actually decided not to rig it. And that's about the only way that that could happen, if that is the case. Nonetheless, since he had been on, they have been derailed. The collapse that they wanted to bring uh, down, the financial collapse, apparently was derailed, and now it has been postponed for, I believe, 20 years or something. That's when they're planning to do it, and this information, the way he was giving it, comes from an insider. How they would dare to spill that? Well, I don't know for sure, but so we're living in this world where, in a time of info war, that is one of the wars, one of the biggest wars right now is info war. On the big news, on the mainstream media, they start to tell people that, you can't really trust videos. When people make videos and say all kinds of things, it's not necessarily true, because the videos are rigged. They can't really prove anything. And then to try to cloud the waters, so that when people do see videos, then they can say, yeah, well, I don't know about that, because I heard on the news that videos can't be trusted. That kind of thing, to dilute and make it very difficult for people to discern. This is one of the reasons I promote the movie Thrive, because when you follow the money, it leads you to the truth. That's basically what happens. When you follow the money, it does lead you to the truth. All right, here we are in this time, in this info war, this time that would be a wonderful time for us to become free. This is the best time, because we have a chance to wake up like we haven't had for hundreds of years. But I think one of the things that that I see with amongst even just us TBC people is that we could unite in mind better. It would help us more. We would accomplish more if we would unite uh, if we would unite in mind and truly be very uh, open with helping each other with projects and so on. But I'm more meaning not just us as broadcasters, but many people who are in the billion coin. If we could find a way that we could unite and and work, uh, how should I say, uh, well, that we could truly understand each other, heartfelt kind of thing, where we blend in mind and heart and understand each other, and that we can ripple out this effect of what the billion coin stands for, uh, that it is love and respect, that we serve one another with love and respect, and not, we it seems like we need to detach ourselves more from that poverty mindset. And I realize that we are in transition. We are in a place where we we're trying to get used to the abundance. We're trying to get used to it. We are still we are still working on having the abundance, the monetary system to become this. But let us not forget that the abundance is inside. It it it's got to be. We got to possess it inside for it to truly be heartfelt around us. You know what I'm saying? So I'd like to talk about the free energy unit some more. I think I've hardly mentioned it so far today. Um, the free energy is one of the things that is going to really cripple the pyramid, the power structure that we're talking about. Now, so will the billion coin. It's going to cripple it huge. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? Maybe when the billion coin takes over, maybe this is how we ought to see it. When the billion coin becomes the mainstream cash, that the monetary systems aren't used anymore, the soldiers are going to have to find a different job, because they're going to be paid by people who own the billion coin, and which for most of us they'd have to find something else to do, because I don't believe we would support them to for carrying the gun around. We would not necessarily support that. We would say, what, let's work together, let's work in peace, let's do it, and let's create prosperity. Along with this, we are going to create an economy that will be so full of blessings. Local economy, local healthy foods will be grown. The those who eat, who like meat, I like meat. um Butcher shops will be local. uh Animals raised for butcher will be local, and all of that, and it will be so much cleaner. And you won't need to haul all of these big loads of animals across the country everywhere, because locally communities everywhere are going to grow their own organic food in greenhouses and on land. Organic foods will be grown because we're going to get back into the health concept. See, these are all things that we're going to be developing. So let us focus. Let us focus on the world that we're building. Let us focus on that, and not how should I say, I just mean that we transform ourselves more and more to that economy. And to do that, to create that, we need to hold that picture in our mind, you know, to continue feeding ourselves with that image, so that will get us moving the right direction. You see, when we do that, uh, not only do we make the right decisions, but synchronicities line up for us. And that is why I want to encourage us that we hold that type of an image in our mind, remind ourselves, and of the world of health and wealth and prosperity, and free energy. My goodness, we don't need to pay for energy. We don't need to pay for fuel in cars. We don't need to pay for these things. It is not necessary. And not only that, but also that it cleans up the atmosphere. The atmosphere, how they're talking about that there's so much wrong, their ozone problem and all that stuff from the pollution. The planet will heal itself. When we stop polluting, it'll heal. In a short time, it'll all be gone. It'll all be fixed. And of course, I noticed there's something. They're taking some pretty big steps right now, also to clean up the plastic out of the oceans. I think that's a wonderful thing. Wow, that's just great. That is really great. I saw a video on that. There's somebody, this man, he's what, 24, I think, and he created an organization when he was 18, I think, or 16 or something, and now they're creating these. They're really making some pretty big headways with this to clean up the ocean, and I thought that is such a great thing. And also with the free energy units, we can do the same thing. If we kind of do a joint venture on this and get this thing rolling, we we will soon have so many units made, and people will be enjoying them in so many places, and then they'll start coming into the markets here in Canada and US and these places, because once we have them everywhere else, there's no reason to pay for it here if nobody else has to pay for it, right? So it's just one of those things that's just a matter of that we unite in this and move forward, right? And then, of course, the billion coin, we're spreading it every step along the way, getting the billion coin to people. So we're moving forward, and the biggest headways that we can make is right in our own mind, by creating our own life of happiness, our own life of fulfillment, in, first of all, knowing that this is available, knowing, tuning in to the prosperity that we are all a part of, and then spread the the uh, the wealth along with it, right? Let it ripple out from us, and affect other people. and share the billion coin, and let's create these units. So with these units, it is soon time to make steps forward. We can't for too long just talk about it and not make headways. If we do that, it will die out. We can't do that. We must make headways. So what I'm doing is I'm making connections with people, and there are quite a number of people already involved in these kind of things, and that is what I'm trying to. I'm connecting with those kind of people to to form, to see where all we can begin to get this to get it going, right? And also that's what will bring about a lot of planning. Most of that I do want to do from Mexico. We're moving to Mexico soon, and then we will be starting them there, and also in several other countries. So updates will soon begin to show up on the site, and well, what can I say? We are in the very beginning of it, but it is very real. It's a very big project, and of course we know how it's going to go once we make them, and once they start showing up places, many other people are going to make them too, and that is a wonderful thing. I really love that idea, because that's what's going to when they're going to become available everywhere. It's not nearly just the ones that we make, because by then there's going to be many places that make them. The only thing is that what I want to approach it in a way that we have enough made and that they run for free, so that the idea of them being made in some big factory in mass production, and then still have monthly bills on it, because that is exactly what will happen if we don't move forward on this. Then they will be made. The same thing will happen. They will be made and they will be out, but the monthly bills will not go away. And let's I would say let's move on it, so that we can prove it, that we don't need monthly charges on those things. All right. So very as I said, very soon we will start seeing, I will start putting updates on of progress and things, of connections made and things like that, because if we don't see any forward steps, it, like I said, it will basically die out, and we don't, that doesn't help us. That's not a mission. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for this hangout. For those of you who are watching this video and are not sure what the billion coin is, or what this prosperity is that I've been talking about, how we're be going to doing all of this, I would invite you to visit the links below, get yourself a wallet of the billion coin. It comes with a nice gift, and come and tune in with us to what we're talking about, and be part of this great adventure. What a wonderful adventure it is, that to literally change the world. To literally change the world. That's what we're doing. And this time we're changing it for the better, for humanity. That's what we're doing. So And if you are already in the billion coin, well then you know what, we have a brand new wallet system now. And if you are not on the new wallet system, well, it's time to move on that. Okay. And I have links below as well, the johnharder.com. You'll just have to create an account, free account, and inside you, there's all the information is right there that you need to do in order to move to the new wallet. And of course, if you want to contact me for anything, by all means, I welcome any questions that you have about anything I said or whatever, about the billion coin, about the energy units, anything. I welcome a conversation. Yeah, I think that is about it. I invite you to contact me with anything that you have, any questions you might have. You're welcome to type them in here if you want. I'm actually going to go through it right now and see you. Stephen Cuffey, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Again, I appreciate it. Romeo as well. Thank you very much. Then we got Krypton, Christian. Thank you also very much for hanging out with me here. And we got Marjorie. Thank you for moderating. And Crypto Review, Pedro. Thank you for coming on as well. I appreciate it very much. I'm sorry? Where? I formulated another plan and need to get in contact with you soon. Okay, yeah, that's great, Christian. That's good. Now, I was just wondering, because speaking on Telegram would would work great for me, and it seemed like it hadn't worked for you. So I'm not quite sure why. I'm not quite sure why that didn't work. I think you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a little video because I think there's a step that is kind of required that it's a little hard to understand. I think that's what it is. So I'll make a video of it so that that will make it much more clear how to use it, because I know there's a few other people that I've been wanting to contact with Telegram, and it just didn't seem to work. And I believe I can at least make a video so that I can show you on that video how to go about it. All right. So, Andrea, thank you very much as well for coming on. I think we're just about to close it up for today, but oh, okay, all right, thank you very much. Yeah, okay, that sounds great. We'll I'll do that. I'll make that video, and then if we can talk, that'd be pretty awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna post that video in the description so that it's available under every video. That way it'll always be there, and then you can, if you don't know how to do it, you can just watch the video and it'll show you. Okay. All right, thank you ever so much, and I truly love you guys. Yeah, I am excited about the adventure that we're in. this is just going to be great. You know, the economy we're building, uh, it it's but you know what they say, that that anything that is anything of value is doesn't always come easy. It it takes work. It takes work, folks. But if we remain our vision, keep our vision, and move forward, it'll in a couple of years we can look back and we will see that we have really accomplished very much. So with that said, I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much, everyone. Peace.